Good morning, everybody. This is your favorite aspiring revolutionary here, a wandering author, reminding you that we are all the authors of our own lives. As always, my message remains the same: spend less, live more, earn your freedom with frugality. Today, we are on an offshoot of the Rails to Trails campus trail at the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, in Oxford, Mississippi. And we're going to talk about Askesis, or Askesis, in English, Asceticism. Now, this right here is just a particular manner that the Stoics developed to approach life. We've talked about Stoicism quite a bit. It's a eudaimonistic philosophy, which just means that basically Stoics believe that if you were a good person, that meant you had a good life. And they defined a good person by their virtues, which is like temperance, self-control, wisdom, courage, and equanimity, which is just like being mindful, basically. Now, askesis is more like how we go through life in order to manifest those virtues in our daily experience. I really like the canopy here. This has got a good canopy too. It's not quite as nice as the one in Indiana, but it's pretty cool. So today, Stoicism gets misunderstood because the word Stoic has kind of changed over the years. For us as modern people, we kind of associate it with being unemotional, sometimes even boring or something like that. But back then, it really just meant to be free from your passions or pathos. Now, for me, I like to think of the passions as like dopamine-driven activities, stuff that makes you want to feel that urge to do more of it, but it doesn't really bring you happiness, with like overeating or abusing any kind of sex, substance, anything really. So what is an ascetic or askesis? So it's somebody who renounces worldly pleasures. Probably the most well-known person that really exemplifies it isn't even a Stoic. It'd be Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, the original Buddha. Sorry. But he, sat under a tree for like 14 days or something like that. But you don't have to be that extreme. You just gotta realize that material goods are not what define who somebody is. And your pathos take control whenever you passively respond to events. So for a Stoic, no matter what it is that's going on in their life, they're going to try to really process what it is, how they respond to events. Marcus Aurelius strongly stressed that you need to not, unless you can control something, that you don't need to let it bother you, basically. Another huge aspect of the Stoic philosophy that I think is equally important for us today is the universality of humanity, which is just, so the Stoics are some of the earliest philosophers that preached that humans are all equal. Even Seneca taught to be like benevolent to their slaves, and freed a lot of his slaves, I believe. Basically, they believe that all humans are part of one universal spirit, that we're all different manifestations of this spirit, and that everyone deserves equal treatment with brotherly love. They recommend, like, if somebody needs help, that you should go and, help them. This is a cool little spot. Which, in our current culture, we live in such a competitive environment, in an individualistic culture, I think some of that has been lost. I've always felt a very strong urge to help people, to my own detriment even. I definitely spent years, quote unquote, helping somebody that really did not benefit me in any way at all, and if anything, it was more a waste of time than anything else. So moving on from that, Diogenes of Sinope has a very famous quote. He's another famous Stoic philosopher that kind of talks about the universality of humans, where he just says, I am an Athenian. I am not an Athenian or a Corinthian, but a citizen of the world, right? So they are some of the earliest people that stopped trying to segregate humans based off their political affiliations or where they were born. So, and ultimately, what they came down to is that rank, title, wealth, material goods don't really tell us much about the quality of someone's character. It's the way they practice their aratai, or virtues, in their daily lives, as exercised through their daily decisions, that really shows us what kind of person someone is. So, what does that mean for us? How can we implement these ideas in our current lives? Well, I always start my show by saying spend less, live more, which actually ties in neatly with Stoic philosophy. So instead of trying to make yourself happy by spending money on things that you don't really need and then having to go and work a job that you don't really want to work to afford those things, try to inspire, empower, and uplift your communities. Now, Stoics also strongly stressed contemplation, which is just a type of deep thought to maintain equanimity. So if you're ever hit by something emotional, don't dig into the emotion. Try to let the emotion part pass for you and ask yourself what's causing you to feel so strongly about these events. If you've been following your pathos, whether that's like overeating or overindulging in any kind of activity or substance, then you can start to cut those out of your life, and it doesn't have to all be at once. You just need to control the controllables, disregard the rest, and make a commitment to yourself that each day you will be a better version of yourself than you were the day before. And as long as you do that consistently every single day, then over time you will become better. And that's just the long story, the short stick of it. I've mentioned before hockey stick success. That's a door knocking principle. All they're talking about is an exponential growth curve. Whenever you first start doing anything, on the cartoon Adventure Time, if anybody remembers Jake the dog, he's talking to Finn in an episode, and Finn's like, I think he might be playing a banjo or something, but he's really upset because he sucks at it. And Jake looks at him and goes, Finn, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of okay at it. And that's true. And often our success builds on itself, so that the very first few steps of success take forever and you hardly notice any results. But as you continue building on those prior successes, each new step is a little bit bigger and it happens a little bit quicker. And eventually you'll be good at whatever it is that you're trying to do. And you'll that right there. And if you're trying to be an ascetic, you'll get good at resisting your pathos. So I kind of got a little off topic there at the end. As far as my current plans, I was considering and still am considering heading east just a little bit to go into Louisiana so I can get some footage there. But starting by tomorrow night for sure, I will be in Neshoba County Fair, Neshoba County, Mississippi for the next week, which is a really cool, basically a redneck festival if y'all guys have never been to it. There's a good chance that the people watching this have, but gonna continue doing my content while I'm there, and I should be able to put a little more work into the actual content itself. And I plan on I'm going to create a actual plan for my final leg of the summer road trip up to Maine, and I will keep you guys updated. Man, dude, there was something else that I had on my mind. I forget what it is, though. Anyways, this is Mississippi. It's much, much, much hotter than Maine and Michigan, or Michigan and Minnesota were. But as always, this is a wandering author reminding you that we are all the authors of our own lives. My message remains the same: spend less, live more, earn your freedom with frugality. What are you guys doing to inspire, uplift, and empower your community today? Because this world isn't changing unless we all do our part. You can count on me to do mine daily. Till next time, I love y'all.